brainwashed somehow, somewhere.
So I'm talking to my class here now. So your country is defined by New York City, hamburgers, apple pie, baseball, and a flag.
Yeah.
That's America.
That's America.
Those are much better answers than we hoped for.
As someone here just said, those are better answers than we hoped for.
Well, we could have said things like democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the First Amendment, the rights of man, the Bill of Rights, abolition of slavery, gay marriage,
we're not quite
the 1960s,
we're not quite unanimous on
Catholic culture, and you know, the list goes on.
We're not quite unanimous on gay marriage yet, you know.
Or more rights then.
Yeah.
That's just an example of the free thinking that comes out of the United States that the rest of the world benefits from. Not to mention great rock and roll bands such as...
Come on!
rock and roll bands such as... all the great music that's ever been written. Sorry guys, you can be quicker, mate. Go on. You don't want to carry on. The Killers.
The Killers.
Right.
The Killers. Hey, let me try something here, Lisa. So, can you guys name any Australian bands?
AC/DC.
AC/DC.
Aren't the Hives?
Hey, Lisa?
AC/DC, yeah, definitely they're our favourite.
Who else did we get?
In the way of dinosaur, rock and roll band, AC/DC would be a favourite.
We got Men at Work.
Definitely dinosaur related.
Men at Work.
What about movies? Matt was talking about movies, because that's what we do most of the time in this room. You know, we think about media of various kinds. Film, TV, web-based, and Matt was saying, you said Hollywood, didn't you?
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, we've...
and news, and entertainment, and current affairs.
Well, we've been talking about movies and different representations a lot in this course as well. So I'm sure we can get onto that. We can actually start talking about that a bit, Lisa. Do you want to talk about, or your students talk about, the course you're doing at the moment and what you're studying?
Yeah, we'd love to. I'm going to ask Sarah right here to just say a few words about the project that she's just handed in and some of the research she's been doing on storytelling and genre.
Cool.
Just use the voice.
So I've been doing like a technique sci-fi story for female protagonist. I'm going to have like a love interest with the robot, but that's just work out. There's so much research to do on that. So I just sort of kept it into stuff with the side. So I just tried to sort of see where those two genres crossed over, how I could sort of work it so little.
Can you move a bit closer to the microphone? It's hard to hear you. Sorry. Yeah, that's better.
Alright.
Say something again, recap something.
So I'm doing a detective sci-fi story with a female protagonist. The robot was going to be like a love interest, but that was a bit too much research for me at the time, so I canned that and kept it as a sidekick. I just tried to see where those two genres crossed over. And I think in the end I went with having like a sci-fi world and a detective like plot, which simplified it for me rather than trying to mix it all in all over the place.
So are you guys actually developing the narratives yourself? You're developing the stories? So that's cool. Well, Well, I'll let the students tell you what we've been doing. I'm not going to tell you how that ties in. But, okay. What else? What else are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing a comedy. It's about a girl who works as a cleaner in an office but aspires to be a journalist. And a woman writing a fiction column in a magazine has started to write this story that is controlling the protagonist's life. Neither of them know this. All that they know is that the protagonist is subtly having weird things happen to her, really very strange motivation. And it could potentially destroy her.
That's like the movie Stranger Than Fiction, isn't it? Where there's someone writing a novel, yeah? Yeah? Yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
Lauren now.
Hello.
Hi, I'm doing a fantasy genre story of a young woman, or a young girl actually, who is 13 and has just discovered via her long lost mother that she is part of an ancient Norse warrior. And it's her really coming to terms with having to have that responsibility across her land at such an early age, accepting her destiny.
Cool.
I like that.
Cool.
What genre would you call that? Fantasy genre, okay. Now we're going to hear from Matt.
Hello, Matt.
It's Matt.
Hello.
I'm writing a science fiction story, which is about a technological singularity, and my protagonists, supporting characters, people living in forest parts of the world, and how technology has been defined.
Well, that ties in very, very closely with the things in this class. I know some of the students will probably be able to tell you about the projects they've been doing on that as well. So, Lisa, shall I let some of our students tell you a bit about what we've been doing?
Please, we would love to hear what you've been doing.
All right, I think if shall I say who wants to go first? You'll have to come up and talk into the microphone. Someone from the Singularity, Brian, do you want to come up?
You go ahead and speak. There you go.
Brian's coming up, he's going to talk to you about, he can tell you about his group project. Sit down and have a chat. Introduce yourself.
It's so dark.
I'll turn the light.
Yeah, I've got the camera here.
Alrighty. Hi, my name is Brian. Be looking this general direction because that's where your screen is.
Volume, please.
Speak up.
Yeah.
Alright.
Brian speaks very quietly.
Yeah. Is this any better?
That's good.
Wonderful. Our group project was about the singularity and pretty much how it's sort of this, I feel it would be rude, but it is sort of this propaganda pipe dream of things will always be better, and the main people who preach it, in this case Strelak, was Strelak, right?
What? No.
Kurzweil.
Good.
They're all a little crazy. Kurzweil's whole ideas behind it is we're only going to focus on the good. Anyone who focuses on the bad is not an inventor or not a entrepreneur, and as a result, they don't know what they're talking about. He pretty much has this idea that because social networking allowed for things to occur like the Arab Spring, that it's going to unite humanity and everything's going to be just peachy, and as a result there won't be the separation of power between the haves and the have-nots in the future, even though everything, like economically speaking, concerning the singularity and resource consumption, says it's going to further stratify us as a species. So yeah, singularity is not really a good thing if it even exists, and it really doesn't exist because it's just one of those things that things will always get better, and every big new technological revolution we have could be considered a singularity. It's just a buzzword that we're using now for a super shiny iPod clean future.
Well,
I'm just a ray of sunshine.
yeah. Did you? Did you catch all that?
Yes, we did. I think Matt might like to respond to that, seeing as he's been working in this area.
Sure.
You want to come up close, Matt?
Lisa, before you go, what Brian didn't explain was the students worked in small groups and each took a particular technology aspect they had to look at and discuss, and these are multidisciplinary groups of students with English or computer science or some psychology, different backgrounds, okay?
Yeah, very interesting.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to ask Matt to respond.
I agree, basically, with most of what you said. I think that Kurzweil is definitely an idealist, which troubles me, but I think he's very interesting as well. And I think that a lot of what he says and the law of accelerating is kind of prescient in a lot of ways. So I'd be interested to know how you think it's done.
All right. Brian's running back out.
Could you repeat that last part for me, please?
I just would like to know kind of exactly what you disagree with, say in terms of the law of accelerating returns.
Can you define the law of accelerating returns for us?
Law of accelerating study of the exponential growth of technology.
Well, I would say the bulk of what I disagree with is it is sort of the idealism and how it's sort of come from it with, you know, without trying to be ad hominem, if that's the correct term for it. A lot of this comes from the fact that he has a crippling fear of his own mortality and the mortality of his father. And as a result of that, that sort of poisons his idealism for every great idea he does come up with, because he does come up with some really good technological ideas. There's this at least 15% of absolute madness that's all part of this sort of almost religious way he looks at machines and how everything's going to work out just right in time for him to not have to die, in time for him to be able to bring back the people he wants. And it's this sort of blindness and this sort of zealotry to the point of everything's going to work out for me. It's too enthusiastic for its own good. That we do not have the resources, you know, to keep up this technological boom to the point where everybody's going to be on equal footing. That's never going to happen.
Great.
Yeah.
It's worth pointing out that the group here actually spent over a week arguing about what a singularity actually was.
Yeah.
And I still don't think you've actually agreed fully within the group on that.
I think we sort of agreed that it's a buzzword.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was really it.
Yeah.
Do we have a definition? Because I'm interested in a definition too. There is the one idea that it actually describes the moment when the technology or when artificial intelligence takes on a life of its own and starts to be creative and autonomous. Is that part of your definition?
Chris, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Chris. I guess I've been called forward since I put a lot of the paper together. And yeah, part of it was what idea of the singularity we wanted to focus on. We actually had to dial it down enough to just be Ray Kurzweil's whole definition with his book. And that's a lot of what our criticism was just focused on, was just his book and the way he tries to turn religious prophecy into science.
like as far as definition goes, I feel that trying to tie an artificial intelligence to this point it's too much of a futurist look on it, when the singularity in all the sort of reoccurring imageries and definitions, religious and otherwise, it's sort of this, I don't want to say, it's like this new mass unity where everyone has access to something. In this case, when we talk about singularity, it pretty much means information or, you know, just equality. And as a result of the singularity, everyone is sort of one. But since humanity is really probably not going to become a hive mind and be efficient like that, and even if we did all end up on equal levels, you know, we're still going to be held back by petty things like human ambition and spite and hate. So Kurzweil's definition of the singularity as this good thing is sort of immediately poisoned by that, at least in my perspective of it. I feel that the whole, you know, robots are going to be everywhere, we're all going to be cyborgs, nanomachines, is one way of looking at it, but it's probably not the broadest or the best definition of using the singularity. It's probably just the most popular.
The one thing that I guess, for lack of a better term, troubled me was he's not concerned with humans, you know, a bunch of individuals. He's concerned in humanity surviving. By his definition, all it requires is one person, one consciousness to survive and achieve this singularity with technology. If the rest of us die, then that's just the way it is.
And if you read his books and you listen to enough of his propaganda, you can kind of tell which one person he'd like that to be.
Yeah, he definitely would be his preference, but even when he was talking, he's like, well, even if we wiped out 99% of humanity, we'll still have 1% and they can do it. The rest of us, well, that's a moot point. You know.
And it's sort of interesting to see that in these whole talks of, you know, everyone's going to be equal, there's going to be this unity, everything's so great. There's all these reoccurring fascist images, and he doesn't want to talk about that at all.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't, you know, help sell the image.
Don't stand in the way of progress is basically his biggest thing.
Hey, how's that going, Lisa? They're very excited about their project.
Well, it's very exciting material, and we are looking forward very much to being able to discuss this with you folks when you come and see us.
Well, these two students,
short weeks.
These two aren't coming over, so they're not part of the group. But,
so he wants to pay for everybody else going anywhere.
Too expensive.
Too expensive for them. They're not part of the group that's coming over, but there's most of the group here are coming over, I think. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, most of the group are here who are coming, apart from Tatiana, I think.
Yay.
Yeah.
We are glad. We would be here to have these conversations in person.
Well,
we're looking forward to that.
We're hoping to do some work with the robots with you. I don't know if we'll be bringing a physical robot, but we'll be doing some work with the robot software with you and showing you how the robots operate. What we're maybe working towards a museum exhibit. Over the next couple of weeks, what we're hoping to do, and this is something we need to talk with the students about and with you, we're hoping to, obviously, we've discussed that we're going to touch on narrative in interactive media.
Yes, narrative in interactive media is what we're interested in too, so this sounds perfect.
I'll talk with you over the next week about the format we're going to do, but we're going to take with this. But we've got 2 weeks, 2 more of these sessions, which I hope you'll share with us. And what we were hoping to do was have 1 session led by you on your experiences with your group, and one session led by myself and Patrick over here.
Okay, that sounds fine. We might even be able to prepare a little script for you if we have some time to do so.
Fantastic.
Might prepare a little play.
That would be awesome. That got a lot of smiles. And a clap, everyone.
That'd be exciting.
I like that.
Oh, I should have brought one of the robots. Yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do as well in our session. We'll set up the robots in here in our session for you.
Right.
Then you can we'll set some of the robots running for you.
Well, how about we could perhaps do a little script where we do the voices and you do the robot action.
That's
a little robot afternoon tea party.
That's quite possible, but we need that will need some preparation because we'll have to pre-program the robots for anything like that. But it's possible.
Just sit quietly.
Actually, to be honest, that is something. If you write a small script involving the robots, that's something I could set some of our guys doing.
Fabulous.
Yeah, I'm getting some nods there. We just spent. I don't know if I told you about this. We were on Saturday. A few of us were down at the Science Museum with the robots near here, and it went really well. And they've invited us to do a larger exhibit over the summer. So we don't know what we're going to do, but you know I'm very interested in doing more small plays and performances with the robots.
Oh, well, perhaps we could do a little collaboration. We could do a little global robotics item.
I'm very interested in the student who's doing the work with the robots on kind of the narrative with the robots. Is there any aspect of kind of robot consciousness in that one?
We've got two of them actually going who's thinking about robots.
Are either of them thinking about kind of aspects of consciousness?
In my story, if I see my robot, he has like the memories of the detective implanted in him so he can work with her better. Those memories start triggering other things and he slowly develops like a conscience, basically.
Yeah.
But it's early.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I'm going to call on one of you now to come up and talk about, explain Galatea. Who wants to explain Galatea?
Perhaps one of us who's actually read it first.
Yeah.
Don't look at me, I've already been up there.
Yeah. John. So sure you got the mic in. Right. They're going to be looking at you from there, but
hello, am I coming through? Can you hear me?
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, sorry, sir.
Oh yes, yes. You're referring to the book.
Yeah, we've been reading in class.
Have they read it also? Or?
No,
okay,
no.
So this is a plot summary. Okay, so Galatea 2.2 is about an author named after the author of the book, but not actually the author of the book, and a computer scientist, a programmer named Richard or Lentz. No, not Richard. Philip Lentz. And they end up in a bet with some other professors at the university that they can't train a neural network to pass a master's exam in English. So the whole point is they create this neural network that they read books to, that the author reads books to, and from that it learns about things like language, and it also learns about the world, and it learns about metaphor, and then it starts, it's trained to sort of ask questions as well. And so it starts, at first it's asking questions about the novel, or about whatever it's reading, and then starts extrapolating and asking questions about the world, its own existence. And there's lots of questions about how language affects our consciousness and how, so.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what we've done in class around that?
Around that? We talked about it. I don't remember much more than that,
but I mean, the kind of philosophy we've been discussing and things.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, let's see. Pick a philosopher and I'll relate him to Galatea, I guess.
Yeah. So, okay. Let me. I'll just. Did you get that, Lisa? Did you get that, Lisa? Hello.
Yeah.
So
I think we did. I'm interested in whether the artificial intelligence program ever takes on autonomy or consciousness? Does it take on a life of its own?
Right, well, autonomy, yes. Because it starts to ask questions on its own and it starts to do things. Just like for example, he sings to it. He sings a song to it at one point, and then later, sort of its own accord, is singing. And so it does have autonomy. But consciousness is, as we've been finding when we talk about philosophy in class, it's not really an easy question to answer. I mean, it's certainly like aware of things, aware of concepts, and potentially aware of its surroundings, or aware of what the world is like in relation to other things, I guess. But what is the?
It's all right. It's just my screensaver.
So so I guess the answer to the consciousness question is maybe.
Good answer. But isn't that the Kurzweil point of view? Isn't the whole issue around singularity, the idea that artificial intelligence is actually autonomously intelligent to the point where it can eventually supersede human intelligence and become creative in the way that we humans are? That's my understanding of the definition of singularity.
I wasn't in the singularity group, but I think that seems accurate to me. I'm not sure singularity is limited to artificial intelligence, so much as it is like if we can create a program that can create a better program than we can.
No. Yeah, I think they didn't like your answer.
That's what I said.
You have offended us.
Well, we're out of time anyway, but that's an extreme. Lisa, let me finish this. Lisa, we're going to have to wrap up soon. This is our hour running out now.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
we have this overlapping hour.
We will continue the conversation. That's fascinating.
And
we will read the book too.
Well,
we will have read the book by the time you get here.
Over the next week, I will talk to you and we will plan some kind of discussion to have in the next class and the one after that, and how we're going to do this, okay?
Okay, yeah, good.
Fantastic talking to you, as always. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It's going to be cool. All right, see you. Say bye-bye, everyone. All right. Bye, Lisa.
Thanks, Jamie. Bye for now.
What does Bob's your uncle mean?
It means Bob's your uncle, everything.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Everything's all right.